Hey, this is Dr. Stan Harris with the Black Hour of Power. Again, stands for bold leaders of authority, courage, and knowledge. We're honoring, talking about people, we're honoring Black history makers of the past or those in the present. We're here with one of our speakers, Dr. Myron Golden. And again, Dr. Myron Golden, an author, a speaker, a minister, kingdompreneur extraordinary, a man, a family man, and a man who loves fun, loves to make money, loves empowering others, and perhaps has influenced more people to make money based on biblical principles than anybody else on the circuit today. So, Myron, tell us about a person that's influenced your life from history, the inspiration, and what it was that they accomplished or did that influenced you.
Well, absolutely. The most influential person that I can think of in my life from Black history would be none other than, and I'm sure somebody else has talked about him. Oh well, they're not going to tell you what I'm going to tell you about him. None other than the man, the myth, and the legend himself, Frederick Douglass. Um, that brother, that brother was something. Born into slavery, and his experience in learning how to read a little bit and then teaching himself how to read a lot. I read his autobiography when I was in my 20s called A Narrative in the Life of Frederick Douglass. It blew my mind the things that he had to go through just to learn to read. So here's why his life impacted me so much. Because he was born into some contributing factors that most people would have determined are determining factors. Most people would have concluded these are determining factors. He was born into slavery. You say, well, I was born in slavery. I can't help it. Being born in slavery was not a determining factor in Frederick Douglass' life. It was a contributing factor. And when he was about 6 years old, and I remember reading that when he was about 6 years old, because he didn't really know how old he was because he didn't have a birth certificate, and like slave births weren't documented like that. He said, when I was around 6 years old, my master's wife was teaching me and some other slave children how to read. He said, my master came in and caught his wife teaching us how to read, and he flipped out. He didn't use the term flipped out because they didn't talk like that back then. But he flipped out and he said, woman, you can't teach these slaves how to read. He said, that is absolutely the worst thing you can do. He said, if you teach these slaves how to read, they will come in contact with books and they will find out that the world is much bigger than the world they live in now, and they'll never be content to be a slave again. And whatever you do, don't ever let a slave read the Bible. Now, as a 6-year-old, Frederick Douglass had the presence of mind to deduce that if the man that owns me and could kill me and not be prosecuted, he could sell me away from my mother or my mother away from me. If this man is this dead set against me learning how to read, it is the most important thing I must learn how to do. I'm like, that is so powerful. And so because he worked in the big house, he had access to really, really good food. And he would take scraps from the master's table in the big house. He would give it to poor white children in their community in exchange for them teaching him how to understand letters. And every time he found a piece of paper on the ground, or he found a piece of a newspaper, or he found a book, he would take it back to his slave quarters and he would practice reading by candlelight at night. And the man became so eloquent as an orator that when I was in college, and I had a relatively substantial vocabulary. I mean, I could promulgate my esoteric cogitations with the best of them, but had a relatively substantial vocabulary. There were words that he used in his autobiography that I had to go look up in the dictionary. So this man had a level of intentionality as a slave that is beyond what most people who can't even contemplate slavery have today. That's one. He had intentionality, but he didn't just have intentionality, he also had ingenuity. He took his ability to read and he learned a skill and became a skilled carpenter. And he would make furniture and sell the furniture. And he made enough money to buy his freedom as a slave. And he bought his freedom and had it stolen from him twice and bought it back again and bought it back again. This man is legendary among legendary because it wasn't enough for him to have intentionality. And it wasn't enough for him to have ingenuity, enough ingenuity to buy his own freedom. He said, I can't be content to be free while so many of my brothers and sisters are still in the chains of slavery. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I do everything that I can to help free my brothers and sisters. And this is what Frederick Douglass did. He became a leading voice in the abolitionist movement. He was so eloquent with his speeches and so persuasive that he gained both an audience with the President of the United States and the Queen of England, and was absolutely instrumental in the abolition of slavery, both in America and Europe. And I thought to myself, this man did this with words. Words. He freed more people with words than other people have freed with weapons. And it inspired me from the time I was 20-something years old to have a desire to use words to compel people to do things that are in their own best interest and in the best interest of humanity. And if I were to sum up what I believe are the things that people can do that are in their own best interest and the best interest of humanity, I would probably have to quote a very, very ancient teacher who also happens to be the Son of God. And he said, don't worry about tomorrow, but seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Great. Well, what is the kingdom of God? I believe the kingdom of God is when I yield my life to God as the sovereign king of my life. He makes me the king over an assignment, so I rule over that assignment as the sovereign ruler of that assignment. And then I use that assignment to serve other people so that, like Christ, I am not just a servant and I'm not just a king. I'm a king who serves. And that's the best advice that I can give. And Frederick Douglass exemplified that.
Wow. Wow. The power of words.
Power of
And
words.
that's amazing. So I'm so glad that again, Frederick Douglass had great impact on your life, and you obviously are a man of courage and a man of words, and more importantly,
Definitely a
you're,
man of many words.
but also, Myron, you've mastered teaching others to make their words more effective. So thank you for that. And again, we're so glad during this Black Hour of Power to learn the life about Frederick Douglass, but also equally as important how he influenced your life, and now you in turn are influencing many others. So thank you very much. Blessings.
100